She wore that dress again, the dark green one with the low back, and it wrecked my whole ability to think straight. It was quiet in the kitchen, just her and the soft tick of the old wall clock. I was pretending to scroll through my phone, sitting on the same bar stool I'd used since high school. Only now, I wasn't a kid anymore. And she wasn't just his mom. Elaine. She was reaching for a glass from the upper cabinet when the hem of that dress swayed a little more than it should have. Not in a way that felt on purpose, which somehow made it worse. The fabric clung to her in places that forced you to notice. A dress you don't wear by accident. Didn't think you were still coming, she said, not turning around. Her voice was smooth but quieter than usual. I almost didn't, I replied. Then I remembered you made that lasagna that ruins all other lasagnas. She laughed softly, the kind you feel more than hear, and finally looked back at me. Her eyes lingered a beat too long. Or maybe I imagined that. Daniel's not coming, by the way, she added. I knew. He texted me that morning, bailed on dinner, said he was too tired, some work thing. Asked if I still wanted to go anyway. And I had said yes too fast. So here we were. Just the two of us. Again. She poured wine into two mismatched glasses, her fingers brushing the rim like she was stalling. Then she handed me one and stood across the counter, not beside me like usual. Like there was a line being drawn. I took a sip. The silence stretched between us. You look good, I said. I shouldn't have. It came out too direct. No buffer. She didn't answer right away, just tilted her head slightly, like she wasn't sure if I was joking. Then, this old thing, she said, glancing down at the dress. I remember the first time you wore it. I said before I could stop myself. You were hosting that graduation party for Daniel. I was, 19? Elaine smiled, but it was a little sad, like she was remembering it too. You were quieter then. Still am. You weren't watching me back then. That stopped everything. She didn't say it in a teasing way. More like a quiet acknowledgement, like naming something that had been standing between us for too long. I opened my mouth, then closed it. I shouldn't have worn this, she added quickly, eyes flicking toward the window like she regretted saying anything at all. But she didn't take it off. We stood there, both pretending the room wasn't too quiet, pretending our wine glasses needed more sipping. And then, she reached for her necklace, the thin gold one she always wore, and the chain slipped through her fingers. She fumbled it, and it dropped with a tiny clink onto the counter. Without thinking, I stepped forward to pick it up. But she did too. Our hands touched. She froze. So did I. The air between us thickened, not hot, just heavy. Like if either of us moved the wrong way, the whole room would tilt. Her fingers grazed mine. She didn't pull back. And right then, right in the space between what we'd never said, the doorbell rang. She blinked. Her hand left mine. I'll get it, she whispered. The doorbell saved us. Or ruined it. I still don't know. I stood back as Elaine opened the door, her posture shifting the moment fresh air hit her skin. She folded her arms across her chest. Not cold, just suddenly guarded. It was a delivery guy. A neighbor's package by mistake. She took it, signed quickly, and gave a polite smile that didn't reach her eyes. The moment had passed. She closed the door and didn't look at me right away. Sorry about that. I shrugged, like it hadn't mattered. No big deal. She moved toward the dining room, and I followed. The lasagna was already set out, candles flickering low beside a chipped salad bowl. Her kitchen wasn't polished, it was lived in. Familiar. The kind of place you don't realize you've memorized until you come back years later and notice you still know where everything is. We sat across from each other. She served me like she always had, careful, almost motherly. It made everything worse. You ever hear from Kara? She asked, spearing a bite. I hesitated. No, that ended a while ago. She was sweet. She was wrong for me. Elaine looked up. There was something in her expression, like she wanted to say more but chose not to. What about you? I asked. Still seeing that guy, what was his name? She smirked, but it was all in the lips. Tim? No, that ended even longer ago. Was he wrong for you too? She didn't answer, just took a sip of wine and looked out the window. Silence fell again. I filled it with the wrong thing. You know this shouldn't feel this way, I said too quietly. This tension. She exhaled through her nose. You think I don't know that? I don't know what you know, I said. You never say anything real. Her jaw tightened, like I'd touched something she'd spent a long time burying. You're Daniel's best friend. Was. You're 26. And you're what? 45? That's not a crime, Elaine. It is when I remember you at 16, slouched on that couch, eating chips, asking if I had any more soda. That boy is still in my head. I'm not that kid anymore. She finally looked at me, really looked, and something in her expression changed. Not softer, just less guarded. I know, she said, barely above a whisper. A long pause stretched between us. She reached for her glass, but her fingers were trembling, just slightly, enough to notice. I stood up slowly, walked around the table, unsure why. I wasn't thinking. Or maybe I was. She didn't stop me. I stood behind her chair, not touching her, but close enough that she could feel the warmth. Her breath caught. You always wore perfume like that, I said. Vanilla. And something else. Her eyes closed for a moment. Jasmine, she murmured. And she reached up, resting her hand, light as air, on my wrist. Not a kiss. Not a confession. But not nothing. Her hand was still on my wrist. It wasn't firm, just enough to say wait. But it burned like pressure. I didn't move. Neither did she. Then her phone buzzed on the table. The screen lit up. Daniel. She snatched it quickly, turned it face down. Her expression shifted, not panic, but something like shame threading across her features. I should clear the plates, she said, already standing, already retreating. I can do it. I offered, but she was already in the kitchen. The faucet turned on too fast, like she needed noise, needed motion. I followed her in. Are you okay? She didn't answer right away. Her back was to me, shoulders tight. He just wanted to check in. Did you tell him I was still here? She looked over her shoulder. Why would I? I stepped closer. Because this isn't nothing. She turned off the water. You think I don't know that? Her voice cracked. Not loud, just cracked. I raised him. I've known you half your life. You think that makes this easier to ignore? I said. Because it doesn't. Her breath hitched. She turned to face me, wet hands gripping a dish towel like a lifeline. I thought it would fade, she said. Whatever this is. I thought it was just a phase. Loneliness. Curiosity. But it doesn't go away. I stepped even closer now. We were inches apart. I thought about you all year, I said. Even when I tried not to. Even when I knew I shouldn't. She didn't look away. Didn't blink. Then, a key turned in the front door. Both of us froze. Her eyes widened. No one was supposed to. Footsteps. A voice. Mom. Her ex-husband. She dropped the towel. Stay here. I didn't move. I heard her walk quickly out to the living room. Her voice rising. Too calm. Too quick. Mark? What are you doing here? Left my sunglasses. Didn't think you'd mind. I thought you were in Arizona. Got back early. His voice lowered. Whose car is that? She lied smoothly. Daniel's. He left it here this morning. A pause. I held my breath. Then, I'll just grab my stuff. A few heavy seconds passed before she returned to the kitchen. Her face was pale. He's gone in a minute. You need to leave right after. I nodded, jaw tight. But before she turned away, she reached for my shirt. Her fingers curled in the fabric. Pulled me toward her. We didn't kiss. Our foreheads touched. Her hand rested on my chest, right over my heart. I want to stop, she whispered. I just can't. And then, just like that, she stepped away. The front door closed, and the space between us lit up like a match about to burn down everything. I didn't leave. Not right away. After Mark walked out and the silence swallowed the house again, I stayed standing in her kitchen like someone still waiting for permission to breathe. Elaine stood across from me, her arms crossed, not out of anger, but to keep something inside. Her lips were parted like she wanted to speak, but didn't trust the words. You lied to him, I said finally. I had to. For me. For us, she said, and the word us hit harder than I expected. I took a step forward. She didn't move back. But her eyes flicked toward the clock, like she wanted time to interrupt us again, like she was hoping the universe would spare her from whatever was coming next. I hate that I want this, she said quietly. I hate how much I think about you. I didn't say anything. My hands were clenched at my sides. She went on, voice cracking. You could have anyone. Someone your age. Someone who doesn't come with this mess, this history. I don't want anyone else. Don't say that. Her voice trembled. I mean it. Her eyes welled. Not full tears, just glassy enough to shine. She blinked them away, turning toward the sink like she needed a reason not to fall apart. I used to watch you, I said suddenly. Back then, when you thought I was just another dumb kid. Her shoulders tensed. I noticed the way you moved around the kitchen. How your laugh dropped a little when Daniel left the room. How you always wore perfume even when you said you didn't care who was coming over. She turned back, eyes sharp now. Don't romanticize it. I was sad. I was divorced. I was invisible. Not to me. A long pause. You think this is love, Liam? She asked, her voice flat. This is obsession. This is timing playing tricks on us. I stepped closer. Then stop me. She didn't. I reached up, slow, cautious, and touched her jaw with the back of my fingers. Her skin was warm. Her eyes fluttered shut for half a second like her body betrayed her. She opened them again, lips barely moving. Daniel can never know. I know. If this happens, she whispered, we change everything. I nodded. Maybe it already has. Then she kissed me, but not on the lips. A slow, trembling kiss to the corner of my mouth. Her breath caught. Her hand lingered on my chest. And right then, a voice outside the window. Daniel, I left my keys, Mom. Her body stiffened. She turned to stone. I stepped back instinctively, heart in my throat. Footsteps approaching the door. Elaine whispered, go. Now. I hesitated. She turned to me, eyes wild, desperate. Please. I moved. Out the back door. Into the dark. And as it slammed quietly behind me, I realized I was in deeper than I'd ever planned to be. I didn't sleep that night. I sat in my car for an hour after I left, hands on the wheel, her perfume still on my shirt. Jasmine, and something I couldn't name anymore. By morning, I still hadn't heard from her. No text. No call. I didn't expect one. But that didn't stop me from checking. Over and over. Around noon, I got a message, but it wasn't from her. It was from Daniel. Bro, we need to talk. In person. My stomach dropped. I drove to his place without replying. His tone was wrong. Clipped, not casual. Not like him. When I got there, he opened the door before I even knocked. He didn't look mad. Not yet. Just confused. Stiff. You want a drink? He asked. I nodded. Sure. He handed me a soda, then sat down across from me. No jokes. No small talk. He pulled out his phone, tapped something, then turned the screen toward me. It was a photo of me, standing in his mom's kitchen, my hand on her waist. The timestamp was last night. I couldn't breathe. She said you were helping clean up. That it was nothing, he said. But the neighbor sent me this. Said it looked weird. Said she saw you through the window. He stared at me. I didn't believe her at first. I swallowed. Hard. Daniel went on. So I came over last night to grab my keys. I saw your car pulling away from the back alley. His voice cracked, just a little. And I saw her. Mom looked guilty. I didn't mean for it to happen, I said, the words crawling out of my mouth like they tasted like dirt. It wasn't planned. He laughed, bitter. So what? You just accidentally fell in love with my mother. Silence. I didn't correct him. His eyes widened. Oh my God. You did. Daniel. He stood up fast. Pacing now. You've been like a brother to me. Since high school. We shared a room on that trip to Yosemite. You cried when your dog died, and my mom is who comforted you. And now this. He wasn't yelling. That made it worse. His voice was shaking, but quiet. Betrayal doesn't always scream. I should punch you, he said, almost to himself. I stood up, slowly. You can. He looked at me, eyes rimmed red. Do you love her? I don't know what this is yet. But it's not a game. He stared at me for a long time. Then, Just as I thought he was about to swing, he walked out. Didn't say another word. Just left me standing there, his front door wide open behind him. I didn't follow. I texted Elaine. He knows. I'm so sorry. I didn't say your name. But he knows. No reply. Not that day. Not the next. But on the third day, a voicemail came in. From her. Just 6 seconds long. I never wanted to hurt anyone. Especially not you. And then a click. I stood outside her house for 23 minutes before knocking. It wasn't late, maybe just after 8, but the sky was already bruised with summer dusk, and the air carried that strange, in-between silence. Like everything was holding its breath. She opened the door fast. Like she'd been waiting. Elaine didn't say anything at first. Just stepped aside to let me in. She wasn't wearing perfume. No makeup. Just a loose cardigan and soft jeans, and the face I'd memorized in 100 stolen glances. You heard the voicemail, she said. I did. We stood in the hallway. Close, but not close enough. I never meant for it to go this far, she whispered. I never let it. You kissed me. I know. She swallowed. And then I watched you disappear through that back door like some teenager sneaking out of the house, and I hated myself for letting it get that far. For letting it mean something. It does mean something. To you, she said gently. You still think this is romantic. I think it's real. She shook her head. It's a moment, Liam. A dangerous, beautiful, messy moment we've both fallen into. But Daniel, her voice cracked. He's my son, and you're not just anyone. You're the boy who used to ask me about colleges and whether you'd make it through chemistry class. I'm not that boy anymore. But part of me still is that mother, she said. And she can't justify this. I stepped closer. Then what part of you kissed me? Silence. Her eyes met mine, and they didn't waver this time. I'm so tired of pretending, she said. Tired of choosing what makes sense over what I feel. Then don't. I have to. I don't get to be reckless. I've been careful my whole life, Liam. Careful with my marriage. Careful with the divorce. Careful with Daniel. Careful with my reputation. And then you, her voice caught. You walked back into my kitchen like nothing had changed, and suddenly everything had. I moved closer. There was no space left between us. Say it, I whispered. Just once. That you want me. She looked at me like she was memorizing the moment. Then she reached up and pressed her palm to my cheek. I do, she said. God help me, I do. And then she kissed me. Not a stolen kiss. Not a mistake. A decision. Her fingers gripped my collar, pulling me in like she'd been waiting years, not days, for this. When we finally broke apart, her forehead rested against mine, her breath shaky. But after this, she whispered, I have to disappear for a while. I nodded, even though my chest ached. I'll wait, I said. You shouldn't. Doesn't matter. We stood there in the half-light. Not broken, not whole, but understood. Elaine disappeared, just like she said she would. She didn't ghost me, not exactly. There were a few texts. Brief. Careful. No calls. No, I miss you. No, when can I see you again? I knew better than to push. And Daniel didn't talk to me for a while either. Weeks passed. Then a month. Then 2. I started jogging more. Got promoted at work. Tried dating someone else, briefly. But she was everywhere. In a song playing at a cafe. In the smell of someone's perfume in line at the pharmacy. In the way no one else held silence the way Elaine could. Like it was part of the conversation, not the lack of one. Then, one day she messaged me. Would you come by? Around 7? It's okay if not. I stared at the text for almost 10 minutes before replying. I'll be there. She opened the door barefoot, hair pulled back, sleeves rolled up like she'd just stopped mid-cleaning. Hey, she said. Hey. We stood there, unsure of how to greet each other. We didn't hug. We didn't kiss. We just sat in her living room, the same one I'd practically grown up in, and she poured us both a glass of wine. I've been seeing a therapist, she said, without preamble, trying to untangle everything. I nodded. That's good. He doesn't think I'm a bad person, she added. Even after I told him about you. Neither do I. She smiled softly. That's why it hurt. We sat in silence for a long time. This one wasn't awkward. It was full of everything that had passed between us. What we said, what we didn't. I thought I'd feel ashamed forever, she said. But I don't. Not when I think about the way you looked at me, like I was still alive. Like I mattered. You do. And I know I can't undo the confusion I caused Daniel. Or what this whole thing cost you. I leaned forward. I'd do it all again. I know, she said, voice tight. That's the part that scares me. Another silence. This time, she filled it. I'm leaving, she said. Not far. Just a new place, a new chapter. It's something I need to do for me. I felt something sink in my chest. But I didn't fight it. I get it. I'm not asking you to wait, she added. I'd never ask that. But I will anyway, I said. She reached out and took my hand. Gentle, certain. Maybe someday, she said. When it's not borrowed time. I nodded. And we stayed like that, hands linked, the evening sun pouring through the window like a soft ending. No promises, no regrets, just something real, even if it couldn't last. Did you enjoy the story? What kind of stories would you like to hear next? Let me know. I'll be here.